There we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. It is alive, so I'm not talking to myself if you're watching tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. It's our Thursday night live, so this is one of my stories. Tuesdays is a request day. Also, if you'd like to join my Patreon, it is patreon.com/JessRose5472. I think that's what it is. It's no. I think that's what it is. Hey sis, how we doing? How are you? All's my first. I'm really red tonight. I'm really hot. I've been rushing around trying to get it ready. I left it till the last minute. How are you? Are you okay? Are you all right? I'm all sweaty. I'm all shiny. Oh, this is a bad one, sis. You might have to do a trigger warning on this one when you're doing your... You might need a trigger warning because it's brutal. Yes, it's a really sad one, actually. It's a really sad one, this. Hi, Natalie. How are you? Hi, Hayley. How are we doing? How are we all? Look at you all. Oh, you're all so good. Have you done some research? Yeah, it's a bad one this evening, just letting you all know. It's a really sad one, and it is brutal. I've just mentioned to Tiff we might need a bit of a trigger warning this evening. I don't know. Is that what we do? Do we do that? Is that a thing? Do we do that? I mean, it's over. I suppose you would, just so you're not going. But a lot of my stories are brutal. So yeah, but yeah, I think we do. I think we do need one. I came across this one by mistake. Haven't seen a lot about it. Yeah, okay, sis. That's fair enough. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you're not aware of it and stuff, it can take you by surprise. So yeah, I understand. What was I going to say? How have you been? How's that week? We haven't been too good. I have two poorly kids, to be honest. So it's been a long week. But it is Friday tomorrow. We got anything good planned for the weekend? I haven't. I do a quiz on a Sunday. Have I told you that? I'm a quiz person now. That's who I am. But I love it. It's on a Sunday night round our local. And we're getting better. We were always last. Okay, we were always last. But she does this thing where you can fast track and you can put yourself in first and things like that. It's ever so fun. Oh, you get to see my sis tomorrow. Ooh, I'll get to see her soon, Hayley. We'll have to meet up because I've never met you. All these times I'm up, we keep missing each other. They've got poorly belly, sis. Yeah, I had to go and collect them from the school yesterday. So, because I was determined, unless something's broken, they go in. Hi, Warwick. How are you? Sorry I didn't get back to reply to you today. I apologise about that. I was so close to getting everything ready. I was like, oh, I'm gonna see you soon. So thank you for commenting. Yeah, they're poorly. What else? Just a long week. I haven't got anything planned for the weekend. Just my Sunday. I wish it was a Saturday, the quiz. So then I could go, yeah, I'm out on a Saturday night. But it's a Sunday. So, yeah, I live it up on a Sunday. See, the minute I get excited, they're up. And it's I've just hit myself in the chin. Okay, I'm going to calm down now. Okay, where are we? Please, I will give them a big hug. I will. I'll give them one for you. Of course I will. Yeah, they're not too bad. It's just icky tummies. But I don't know what your kids are like out there, but mine, even when they're poorly, they'll be poorly for like however long, 10 minutes or whatever. And then they're back again. Like, sometimes I think, they might just chill on the sofa, watch the telly, be quite quiet. No. They're very, very, very loud kids, as Tiffany can attest to. So there's no peace in this house, but they've been warned this evening. So hopefully we shouldn't hear any thumping or fighting or anything like that. That's the plan. That's the plan. Then you have to stay quiet for an hour. I'm sure they can do it. Okay, should we go? Should we start? Should we go? Okay, don't know if any of you know about this one. Always certainly happens. It is your niece and nephew. That's exactly them. There's no change. Tiffany ends up with a mass headache when we come to visit, bless her. But yeah, I didn't know about this story. I didn't know anything about it. And that's what I like to do on a Thursday. I do like to come across ones that aren't as, they may be older stories or may not have got the, unfortunately, the media attention that they should have gotten, or maybe I just didn't notice it back when it happened. It could be any of the above, but yeah, so we're going to talk about the horrific torture and murder of Kristy Bamu. It's Bamu. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't think it's Bamu, so I think it's Bamu. Okay. So, it's just, yeah, it's, I think I start all of mine off like that, but it's because they all have that effect on me. That's just the effect they give me. So it's like, ugh. But okay, yes. Look at her jumping in with his date of birth already. Thank you. But yes, okay. As Tiff said, it's Kristy Bamu. He was born on the 21st of October 1995. Okay. Now, Kristy was actually born in Paris, in France, obviously. It's a UK-based story, kind of, but you'll get what I mean in a minute. Okay, so now Kristy, he was born then, and he was born in Paris. Now, Kristy was actually one of 6 siblings, and he was in the middle. Now, he had an older sister called Magali. Okay. Please bear with me on a couple of the names. Okay, I think it is just Magali's, actually. I think that's how I pronounce it. Okay, Magali was the eldest of the 6. Their parents, I've got their dad's name as being Pierre Bamu, but I haven't been able to find mum's name. I don't know if there's a particular reason for that, but I've got their dad's name, and his name's Pierre. Okay, now, when Magali was born, they all lived in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I believe it's called. And Magali, she was brought up there until she was 13. So we're going to just talk a little bit about her first. She was born in 1983. And when she was 13, as is a common practice there and in some countries around the world, really, you send your kids to different countries hoping that they'll get a better life, a better level of education maybe, or they've got more family around, various reasons. But she was sent here to East London when she was 13, and she was sent to live with apparently her dad's niece. So I presume it would have been her cousin, and the cousin's husband, their family. So when she got here, the agreement was, because there's always an agreement set up with the family. I know this through doing the Victoria Climbier case as well. There's an agreement met with the family that, they'll take on the child and make sure they get a good education. And it's something that's done within the families. So that was the agreement with Magali. However, once she got here, that didn't happen. She wasn't sent to school. In fact, she was basically treated as a servant for this cousin or niece. I'm presuming it was the cousin, because unless the niece was older than her, she would have been older. But anyway, I believe it's a cousin. She was there to babysit. She was there to cook and clean. They didn't allow her to go to school. Like I say, she was treated as a servant. Just very mistreated within the family. And, she's come from a country she doesn't know the language here at all. So it must have been at 13, you're going through your own changes as a teenager. It must have been absolutely daunting and a horrible experience for her. But as she gets a bit older, she leaves, she gets out of that house when she hits, I think, about 18. And what she does, she starts to do quite well for herself. She gets puts herself through college to learn English and some maths. She does that. She gets herself a cleaning job. She's really trying to better herself, which I think is amazing. You've gone through all that. You don't speak the language, but she was determined to better herself. So that's as positive as I'm going to talk about this girl. Okay, just letting you all know that's the most positive I'm going to be about her. But that was what was going on with Magali. Okay. Now, did I say she got cleaning jobs, and then she goes on to be a dental nurse assistant? So quite a good job, as far as I know. So she was doing very well. Okay. Now we're going to come away from the Bamu family just for a second, and we're going to mention a man called Eric Bikubi. I think I've got that right. Bikubi. Now, Eric was also born in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1993. So he's exactly the same age as Magali, from the same place, came over here to London as well. But they didn't know each other, and they met. She meets him, and you would think, why? This is like kind of a fairy tale, really. Not so much. Not so much. Now, Eric himself, I'm going to talk about something that is called, it's called Kindoki or Kindoki. Again, I'm going to do different pronunciations because I'm not too sure, but it's called Kindoki, and it's a practice. I don't know if it's just in the Congo, or it's a practice more that reaches further. I don't know. But basically, Kindoki is a form of demonic witchcraft. Okay, and it's something they believe wholeheartedly in. Okay. And Eric, he believed in Kindoki, and basically believed he could see evil spirits, and he was very aware that there was demons that could be around him. Okay, it's a belief they have. Obviously in the West, I think it can be hard for us to understand these practices, and we can see them as there's various ways I can say, and I've got to be careful, but we don't tend to believe in these practices, but it's what goes on. Okay, it's just what they believe. So Eric seemed a really nice guy when Magali got with him. Treated her quite well. They realised they had a lot in common. Changed really quickly between the two of them. And he started to become quite controlling with her, very controlling with that really quickly. He didn't want to wear any makeup. He didn't want to go out with any friends. Like when she'd gone to school, to college, and had her cleaning jobs, and then gone on to become this dental assistant, she'd made friends. She'd got a life for herself, and he started to separate her from that. Then it escalated to where he would call her really awful names, really derogatory names. Then escalated into him beating her, and to the point where he'd make her eat off the floor, and things like that. Really demeaning. Just a really horrible relationship. That's what it was put across as. Yeah, just not a nice guy. Just not a nice guy at all. So again, now we've mentioned that Magali bettered herself from the life she'd started off with when she got to London in the UK. We've mentioned that she'd started off having a hard time. She'd bettered herself. Now she's gone from the frying pan into the fire, it would seem, with Eric. Um, that's the most sympathy you're going to hear from me for this woman, and you're about to see why. Okay. Now, Eric's mum, just a little bit more on Eric. His mum had died in childbirth, and his dad had been a gold trader. Okay, so that was his past. Now, although, and again, with him living in this Kentucky, but he had a different front that he would put onto people, and he was a football coach. He's a football coach, and his dream was to own his own football academy. But friends that were very close to Eric would say he wholeheartedly believed in this practice, believed that he was surrounded by demons. He would also have a recurring nightmare that his brother was trying to drown him. And, he had a lot going on, Eric did. But I suppose with just people who didn't know him very well, he seemed like a nice guy. He's a good-looking guy. Magali was a very attractive woman. So, okay, so now they're a couple. Right, okay, that's where we are with those two. Now, let's go back to the Bamu family, okay? So, Magali's the eldest, as I've said. Now, there's another 5 siblings, okay? At this point in the story, we're going to come up to 2010 within this story. So at this point, there are another 5 siblings. Now, Magali is 27 at this point in the story, as is, 28, as is, Eric, sorry. Okay. Sorry, I've had a complete brain block there. Yes, so they're both 28. I'm just making sure I got my maths right. I know someone's going to catch me out on it. The other 5 siblings of Magali's, right? She's got a 20-year-old, she's got a 22-year-old brother called Jess. She's got a 20-year-old sister called Kelly. She's then got the 15-year-old brother, Kristy. Then there are another younger brother and sister who are 13 and 11. Don't know their names. Their names have been hidden, which is you're going to find out why. But their names aren't mentioned. So that's the 5 siblings of Magali. Okay, so there's 6 of them all together. And we now come up to December of 2010. Okay. But I've looked and all it says is December, but they weren't there for long. So I've got it around the date being around the 20th of December. I may have that start date wrong, but I won't be too far off. Okay. You're going to say, well, I've mentioned that. So in December of 2010, like I say, around about the 20th, all 5 of the Bamu siblings to Magali. Okay, I've missed something out. I've fast-tracked. I'm sorry. Please stay with me. I've fast-tracked there. Right. The reason I went back to the family is the first 3 siblings. So we've got Magali, Yves, and Kelly, all born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay. But then the family come over, but they go to Paris in France. Okay. And while there, that's when Kristy and the younger 2 children are born. So Kristy's actually a citizen of France. Okay. So we've got 3 countries kind of involved in the story. Sorry. So 20th of December, the 5 siblings come from Paris, France to spend Christmas with their older sister. You know, they don't get to see her that often, and it's supposed to be a really happy time. Eric and Magali have recently got engaged, so it's just this. They're just proud of their older sister, how well she's done for herself. I mean, I don't know if the family knows she was mistreated when she came here. I presume at some point she would have told them. I'm not 100% on that. But they're just very proud of their older sister. They really are. So they want to come and visit her. So they come, and at the beginning, when they come to visit and they come in, it's a flat. You can see the pictures of it online. When they come, it's all great. It's all great. It's what you would imagine having your siblings coming to visit would be. You know, 5 of them, it's a lot, but they're a very close family, I suppose, and they want to look up to this older sister who's now going to get married, you know, and it just all looks, it looks great. It looks like it's going to be an amazing time for them. It's not that kind of channel, people, as we know. So, okay. So one night, really early on in the visit, Kristy, the 15-year-old that I've mentioned, he needs to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, and he makes his way to the bathroom, but for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason was, he couldn't get the door open. So he's busting for a wee. He really needs the toilet, and he can't get the door open. I don't know if it's jammed or something, but he ends up wetting himself. Okay. And you can imagine for a 15-year-old lad, you know, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing, you know. Of course he was going to be a bit embarrassed by it. And, you know, Kristy, he seemed like he was a very nice boy, a really, really nice boy. He, have I got it here? I haven't done it here. Okay, bear with me. We'll go through that in a second. But it struck me that he would have been really embarrassed by this. So he gets his underwear. I don't know. I don't know, Warwick. I'm not too sure. I don't think he could get in the bathroom, but you're right. It might be the kitchen. I don't know. But he must have panicked and he's wet himself. So in that embarrassment, he gets his underwear and he hides them. He hides them until they can dry and he can get them put away, or, you know, whatever he was thinking of doing. But in that moment, he gets rid of his underwear, hides it all, and hopes no one will be none the wiser. He's embarrassed, obviously. He's 15. So that's what happened at that time. So the next day, Eric is looking for something. I don't know what he was looking for, but he comes across this underwear. All right. Now, most people, regardless of the age, you know, it doesn't matter how old someone is. If you know someone's wet themselves for a very innocent reason, or for whatever reason, really, you'd feel bad for them. You'd know there'd be a sense of embarrassment there. You wouldn't make it any worse. You'd kind of just be like, oh, it's okay, you know. Come on, no one else needs to know. It's fine. Come on, we'll get this sorted out. You would imagine that would be the response to finding this set of underwear, but it's not. Okay, Eric, given I've already let you know what he believes in, he believes that not only Kristy, but the other 4 siblings, they've all been possessed. They've all been possessed by this Kindaki, this demon, and he's got to get it out of them. He's got to get it out of them, because you know why? Because these siblings, because they're possessed, especially Kristy, because he's the one who wet himself. He's got to get it out of them, otherwise they're going to kill him and Magali. I mean, I'm not gonna be dismissive in this story. Obviously I can be annoyed, but I don't know about other people's cultures. I don't want to put down something someone believes in, but when it's, you're gonna say why. You're gonna say why. Okay, we'll talk about it after. Okay. So Like I say, he believes they've been possessed by a demon, so he's accusing them all now, and they're all four of them. Bearing in mind, Kristy's not the eldest of these siblings that have come to visit. There's also a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old that are there as well, which is Jess and Kelly. Okay, and he's accusing them all. You know, you're all demons. You're here to kill us. Wow, his way of ridding the flat and everyone of this demonic witchcraft that's descended upon them is to begin by beating the life out of a lot of them. That's how this begins. He believes that he can beat the spirit out of them, right? And what he does, he gets them all to start saying these prayers that are from the Congo. That certainly the last three wouldn't really know of unless they were taught by the parents, but they're being made to say these prayers to remove the spell that's been cast. And then for the next 4 days, right? They were not allowed any food. They weren't allowed to sleep. Okay, so you can imagine how that would affect you. They weren't allowed to go to the toilet. They weren't given permission to go to the toilet. All the kids, all 5 of them, of course, are petrified, all denying we are not witches. This isn't. I don't know why you would think this. We're not. They're denying it, vehemently denying it, and mortified that he's accusing them of this. And basically, they were saying, we're not trying to kill you. No. So they're trying the best to defend themselves. They were all getting beaten with hammers. I mean, this wasn't just punching and kicking. This was objects, hammers that he could get hold of, chisels that he could get hold of. They all were beaten. But his main obsession was towards Kristy. Kristy, because he'd wet himself, who in Eric's mind had started this whole chain of events. That's who he was saving his most just hatred for. That was who he was going after. Okay, so he basically says to Kristy, I'll get the truth out of you. And Kristy was crying. This lad's 15 years old. And if you see a photo of him, he's such a good looking lad. But it's his smile. His smile, just in the picture that you see, it looks like it could light up a room. He just looks like, he was going to go into take over the dad's business that the dad's got in Paris. He's got such a good future. He's kind, family orientated, just a lovely boy. And to imagine him begging and basically crying that, I swear I'm not here to hate. Honestly, I'm not, and defending himself and denying I'm not a demon. I'm not possessed. How do you prove a negative? How do you prove you're not something? It must have just been the scariest experience. So like I say, he says, I'll get the truth out of you. So what Eric does, he gets a bar, and he puts it down Kristy's throat, then gets the hammer that he's very handy with by the sounds of it, and he starts to hammer the bar down Kristy's throat. But I believe he kept missing the bar, so he's hammering Kristy's face, and the siblings that are around who are seeing this just said just gradually his face just started to become unrecognisable in front of them. He knocked his teeth out. He got pliers, and I don't know if with the pliers he was trying to remove Kristy's ears. I don't know what he was trying to do with them, but he was obviously deforming his ears. He was pinching at his skin with the pliers and ripping. Then he got the other siblings, who must have been just fearing for their lives, and he got them to hold Kristy down, because of course he's fighting for his life. You know, he's fighting against this, so he gets the other siblings to pin him down to the floor while he smashes glass bottles over his head and tiles, ceramic tiles. Now, you know how thick they are. I don't know if you've ever seen a tile split, but the slightest slither of that tile, you know, will cut you. And he was smashing them over the child's head while the others were holding on to him and creating really deep wounds in the back of his head. Do you want to know what their older sister was doing? Do you remember I said that was the most I was gonna sort of say how well she was how good she was as a person. Not only was she sitting back and watching this happen to her siblings, because you might be wondering, was this happening to her? No, this wasn't happening to her. She wasn't sitting back and watching. She was fully involved. She was fully involved in the beating of these. She punched Kelly in the face. She was punching these younger ones in the face. She was fully involved in this. She fully backing him up. I don't know if because she'd been with him for a few years by that point that she'd also bought in to this belief of this Kandaki, and that they were surrounded by demons, and now all of a sudden her siblings are all demons too. But yeah, she was fully involved, you know. Okay, so they were made to pin him down, like I say, which must have been heartbreaking. But then we get to a point where Eric phones Pierre, the kid's dad, and he doesn't mention the others, but he says, you need to come and get your demonic son, because if you don't come and get him, I'm going to kill him. Now, don't forget, Pierre's in Paris. He's in Paris. This is East London. Okay? It's Christmas. And Pierre, hearing this, he tries to book a coach, he tries to book a flight, he can't get anything. Now, I don't know if, like me, something running past your brain is like, why didn't he phone the police? I haven't heard an answer to that, or why, or an explanation as to why he wouldn't have, I don't know, got in touch with British, you know, London police. I don't know how easy. I've never had to phone police for out of the country. I don't know how that would have happened, but so maybe he tried. I don't know, but I haven't heard that how far he went. But Kristy also phones his dad, crying, begging him, saying, Dad, you've got to come and get me. He believes I'm Kindaki. I don't know if that's how you would say it, but he believes that. You know, can you please come and get me? He's going to kill me. So, I can't even imagine how the dad must have felt hearing that down the phone. I just, and then it said Kristy starts to ask for forgiveness from Eric and Magali. He's asking them for forgiveness, but he doesn't confess to being this demon. He won't do it. He's not doing it. Now, I believe two of the sisters, I could be wrong, I've seen somewhere that two of the Kelly and the younger sister, I don't know if they confessed or they just said it's gone. I don't know what they said, but they managed to kind of not keep getting the wrath of Eric. It was just solely on Kristy now. He would just wanted Kristy. And he was begging for forgiveness, and Kelly said after the fact that Magali was saying, no, they all deserve it. All of them. All of them. These are her siblings that have come to visit her. They've come to visit her. But in Magali and Eric's minds, these have all come to visit them to kill them. This is the belief going on. I want to, you know what I want to say? I don't want to, I'm not going to insult somebody's culture and belief system. I'm not going to do that. But I do believe that within the UK there are Christian churches that do believe in this, but their practice is to pray and kind of do the hands on the head. I've seen some videos of the practices that are done, and they're not violent. They just believe that the elders of the group can, or the preachers of the group can kind of get rid of these spirits. And from what I can gather, these churches by no way support the practices that can be done within homes of people that believe in this. So that's all I'm going. I will say that. Okay. So Magali's saying they all deserve to die. They all deserve what's happening to them. And Kristy, who's been beaten, that he was getting hit with the hammer constantly about his head, his body. This is 4 days not eating, not sleeping, having to say these prayers. This was a constant cycle. And in the end, he says, just allow me to die. 15 years old. Just allow me to die. I can't take anymore. And Kelly, the other sister, she said he was getting so weak at this point. He couldn't fight back anymore. He couldn't protect himself anymore. So it's just heartbreaking, just absolutely heartbreaking. So we come up to Christmas Day. Christmas Day 2010. And Eric decides that he wants to get them all in the bath. And, if you live in the UK, December, cold water's freezing. It's freezing. And what he was doing was bathing and showering them all to cleanse them all. That was what he said he was doing. Kristy, though, obviously has to get it worse. And he starts baptizing him, I suppose, for want of a better word, dunking him into the water, into this freezing ice cold water. And you imagine all the injuries on him, and the no sleep and the not eating and just the constant abuse and beating. And eventually he just couldn't fight back anymore, and Eric walked out and left him in the bath. And when he came back, Kristy was under the water through tiredness and through no energy and the injuries he'd sustained. He just couldn't fight anymore, and his body gave up. And he died. He died in his sister's bath on Christmas Day. It's just so sad. It's just every part of this, it's heartbreaking. It's just awful. So they call an ambulance. It's just, sometimes when I do these stories and they call when they call 999, and I always wonder, like, what do they think that the paramedics and the police are going to think when they walk in. But I've seen the body cam of them walking through the property. I presume it's the police. It could be after the fact, but I've seen walking through. Oh, and it's just horrific to look at. There's blood everywhere in this flat. There's blood splatter on the walls, the ceiling. Do you know how hard you've got to for the splatter to reach your ceiling? You can see the tiles, the broken tiles that have been half put into a black bag with blood on them. The hammer that's on the sofa. You can see the bar. You can see a plank of wood, blood all over it. It's just stuff of nightmares. These houses. But when they got in there, obviously seen the state of Kristy, they spoke to the siblings who told them straight away what's gone on. Now don't forget, these siblings are from the Congo and from Paris. Okay, so their English is kind of it's broken, but they get across what's been done to them, what's gone on. So they're both arrested. Eric and Magali are both arrested there and then. Okay. So we come now. Eric, he tries to plead guilty to manslaughter under diminished responsibility. That's the route he's going once he's been arrested. That's his route of going. And Magali is, I had to do it. I was scared. I had to do it. I had no choice. I would have been beaten otherwise. I had to beat my siblings. I had to get involved in it. I had to punch my sister in the face. I had to stand and watch and smile, apparently, as my brother's having a pole hammered down his throat. I've got to do that. I had to do it. I didn't have a choice. Okay, now what I will tell you about Eric. Now the trial doesn't begin until 2012. Okay, so they have to get all the evidence ready and everything else. So the defense for Eric, everyone does have a choice. The defense for Eric was that he had a brain disorder from when he had a head injury as a child. Convenient, that, isn't it? And that he honestly does believe that there are demons all around him. You know, he genuinely believes that, and that's what the defense are putting across for him. Magali, her defense are putting across, you know, she had no choice. This is what's being put across to the jury. Now they bring Kelly. Do you remember their sister? They bring her up to the you know, as a witness, and she sounds like she was amazing. She sounds like she was screaming at her sister across the court. So, you did this. You were there. You watched him die. You know, she was brutal to her sister on the stand. And Magali apparently just had her head down, and occasionally she'd cry, a little bit of cry. Let me tell you about Magali. In her what's the photo you get taken for? Your mugshot. Her mugshot, she's got a full face of makeup. You know, the woman who weren't allowed to wear makeup. He wouldn't allow her to wear full face of makeup in her mugshot, smiling. You can see it online, smiling. Very pretty girl, but just so ugly inside. That's the nicest thing I can say about her. Eric, good looking guy. If you've seen them on the street, you would not like any of the perpetrators that we talk about in these stories. You know, you will get somewhere you'd be like, well, but you know, there are somewhere you just would not see something like this coming. And like I say, Kelly just was not having any of this at all. She says, no, you took part in this. You did this. And then it comes forward from the prosecution, because the prosecution aren't having any of these excuses, none whatsoever. Prosecution actually bring a family friend forward who stayed in 2008 with Magali and Eric, and she said that something very similar happened to hers, not to the extent that it happened to Kristy, but Eric believed again that she was a demon who's come into their home to kill them and to hurt them, and he made her shave her head. Same thing, she was beaten, she was starved, she was made to pray. I mean, she luckily got out, but it wasn't his first time in doing this practice, so it wasn't just like he lost his mind. There was a pattern to this behaviour. But it was said that Eric fully believed, unlike him saying, "Oh, it was from a head injury." It was said he was quite cocky about what he believed in. He thought he was the chosen one. He was the chosen one who could rid the world of all these demons. This is what he fully believed. Now, Magali, like I say, she showed, I don't know if it was remorse of what had been done or if it was just pity for herself, but she at least bowed her head. She had the good grace to bow her head. Eric was just looking around smiling. He found the whole thing quite funny, considering his defence was, God, I didn't mean this. I don't, it's a brain injury. So yeah, he was just no remorse whatsoever. And like I say, with her, I don't know if it was remorse or it was just she just felt sorry for herself. I don't know. But they were both luckily found guilty, and the judge at the time says, although he can admit that these practices do go on, and he's not going to argue with the fact that Eric perhaps did believe in what he was doing, it was no excuse. And Eric, he actually received 30 years. And Magali, she received 25. Now, when I first seen that, giving it to the UK and London, I thought, oh, for a UK story, that's a long time they were given life with those years. But then I thought, but no, if they show remorse, they get out in half that time. This whole family's destroyed. Him and her single-handedly destroyed an entire family. For what? It's just 25 years she got. It's just, it was just, they were her siblings. She was the eldest. She should have protected them. The 6 of them surely could have got him down, but, well, okay, let me take the 2 out of the equation. Let even take Kristy out of the equation. But the 2 older sisters and the older brother, maybe would have stood a chance, could have stood a chance. He does look like he was a big built guy, though. So, I don't know. Now, Kristy is actually the 3rd person in the UK to have been killed because of these practices, because of this belief in Kindaki. And like I say, the Christian churches that are out there, I don't want to demonize those, because it doesn't seem it's violent practices that they're preaching. I don't think, I'm quite ignorant on the subject. I'll wholeheartedly hold my hands up. I am. I've tried looking at things, but it's because obviously the media I'm looking at, of course, it's going to be biased against that practice, because it's not what we would do here. We would never. But I don't get how anyone can think that's okay. That's like, I just don't get it. But I suppose if that's a belief that you've been given from a young age, and you look at someone and you think, who do you decide who's a demon? What? Because he wet his shorts. That's all the evidence you need to tell you someone's a demon. They wet themselves. It's just, it's not something I understand. It's really not, and I'm not going to pretend I do. I don't understand it. And to be honest, evil's evil. Evil's evil, regardless of whatever your excuse is behind it. It just is. And this was an evil, vile, abhorrent thing that was done to a child. He was 15 years old, and he was her sibling. He was her little brother. She should have protected him. It's just heartbreaking. What I didn't mention was that Kristy actually had over 130 injuries. 130. Many of them very, very life-threatening. Many of them weren't, the majority of them weren't, excuse me, weren't superficial injuries. 130. You know, and it does remind me of Victoria Clambier. You know, there was hammers used in that story, and and it was said, you know, her aunt said the same thing about her. I don't know if that was one of the cases that we're talking about when we say this is the third case. I don't know if Victoria Columbia is a second case. I'm not too sure. But I do know that was an aspect of that as well. The jury that was obviously had to decide on this case, they had to see the pictures of Kristy, and they'll never have to do jury service again. The judge ordered that they'll never have to do jury service again. They were offered counselling because the picture of this boy, it will never leave them. And I think about the jury, but I also think about the siblings. I mean, one of them was 11 years old. I believe it was a little girl, and she would have seen what he looked like. And, you know, Kelly said he was unrecognisable. You couldn't recognise him as Kristy. You know, it just, did they get help? I really hope they've received help too. Like I say, the younger two's names aren't out there, so I'm thinking they would have got help, and they would have, you know, their names kept out of the public eye, etc., which is, you know, a really good thing. But 11 and 13, I don't think you're going to be able to forget that. I don't think you're going to be able to push that to the back of your mind. Just awful, horrific story. I think when I seen the picture of him and seen the future he was set to have, he was intelligent, he was a studious boy. You know, like I say, he wanted to take over the dad's business eventually in time. It's just heartbreaking. Just the smile. Again, like Victoria Climbier, that's what everyone said about that. And if you see pictures of that smile, and he looked like he had a smile that would light up a room. He did. And so, yeah, that was the horrific torture and murder of Kristy Bamu. Oh, I've ruined your Thursday, haven't I? I've ruined your Thursday. I have. I know I have. Oh, I know I have. I know I've ruined your Thursday. But it's just, I had to share it. I had to share it because, oh, you're welcome, Maury. Thank you. Yeah, I had to share this one because it's not something I've seen around too much. And I think given what happened to this boy, I just think it should be shared. You know, people should remember. Yes, Hayley, it wasn't he gorgeous? Just a gorgeous, just that smile. I mean, in that, if it's the photo I'm thinking of where you've got, what's her name? Magali. And you've got Magali and you've got Kristy. You can see Kelly is the other older girl that you can see. And Yves, I think, is the boy. And then there's 3 that have got their faces blocked. I think that the little one on her lap is hers and Eric's child. Now, I don't know. Don't hold me to that, because where I've looked, it doesn't. sometimes it says they had a child, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm not too sure if the lad on her lap, with obviously the face, but given the age of you can see the other two with their faces blurred, they're obviously older, so that would be the 11 and the 13-year-old. So the lad on her lap, I think, was possibly their child. So there you go. You've got a child now. His mum and dad killed his uncle. It's just, it just reaches far and wide, this does. It's just, it just devastated me, this one did, especially seeing him and just knowing that he had such a good future ahead of him, and just heartbreaking story. So look at you all staying with me, right? Thank you so much for staying with me. I know it's been a hard one. I know it was a hard one this evening, but yeah, I just wanted to share it with you all. I'm all hot now. I'm all hot. It's just, yeah, it's just, I never know how to end these stories. It's just, especially when it's one like, they're all bad. They're all bad. This is the channel I've got, so they're never going to get any better. This is the channel I've got, so thank you all for joining me, and I'm gonna perk things up with my jingle in a second. We do. That's what I was about to say, Hayley. We need the jingle. If you're watching tomorrow, this jingle has no sound. It's not, in the sense of it's got no music. I don't know why I call it a jingle, but it's something we do, and we look forward to it because it lightens things up afterwards. So yes. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Right, before I do the jingle, where's my, oh, I'm not the camera now and everything. Bear with me. Let me just thank you all, because I did notice the other night when I got off, I was like, I didn't thank everyone. And I like to thank you all individually. Thank you, Kelly. I think Kelly's gone. Did I notice Kelly had gone? Did you all notice Phil wasn't here this evening as well? Did you remember Phil? Phil, obviously, he's gone to Norfolk, hasn't he? So I believe Phil will be back on Tuesday. But thank you, Hayley. Thank you, Warwick. Kelly and Tiff, my little admin. Oh, a special little lady. Oh, Ariane hasn't joined us tonight, has she? I haven't seen Ariane either. Is there anyone I've missed? Hayley, of course. Hayley, I've mentioned. If I haven't mentioned you, Hayley, of course. Yeah, some reason with you, Hayley, I don't know what it is. I'll keep you, I'll see you. I think it's because sometimes I don't mention Tiff either. I think you're kind of in with, you're part of the family now. So you just get dismissed now. I think that's what it is. But we're all a family on a Tuesday and Thursday night. So that's what I love. I love. But 2 mentions for, yeah, you do. Special lady. Wow. I was hoping Ariane would be here tonight, because I'm actually doing her story on Tuesday. Which is the Aurore Gagnon. Now, he's French, so I'm going to have to get my pronunciations. They're long names, so I'm going to work on that the weekend. But, yeah. Join in on Tuesday for that. If you're watching tomorrow, please join us on Tuesday. It's Request Live Tuesday. If you want to put a request into my Patreon, it's free. I know people charge, but I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to go about that. But I've got a Patreon if you wanna. But obviously my Rose family who join for the lives will bump anyone, regardless of whether it's in the Patreon or not. So if you do want to request one, join us on a live on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Tuesday, like I say, on my request evenings, so any stories that you would like me to look at, and then Thursdays are mine. So stories that I like to find, ones that maybe aren't as common out there. Common. I never know how to word that, but you know what I mean. So yeah. So now we're gonna do the jingle. Right. Okay. What was that? That was a bit much. That was a bit overexcited. But like, comment, and subscribe, guys. If you see this, if you're watching, like, comment, and subscribe, guys, please. Say, oh, it's get. I held my breath too long then. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys, please. Please like, comment, subscribe. Guys, please. I don't know if my mum's watching. Do you know? She keeps saying she's gonna watch. The no I know, what is that noise? It's I don't know what the noise is either. It's all and it's escalating now. I've noticed it's escalating. I've watched back to like when I first started doing my like comment and subscribe, and it was all very sweet, and it was just, yeah, if you can like comments. And now it's a whole invasive into the comment, look, comment, and yeah, it's a lot. But look, comment and subscribe, guys, please. Yeah, so that's my jingle. If you're watching, I look constipated. Yeah, I can't breathe. There's a noise that's coming from nowhere, and I don't know why I'm holding my breath. I don't know why there's this. There's a lot of things in the jingle that I'm not aware of why they're coming out. So, and I perhaps need to look at why that's happening, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't need to look at why it's happening. It's just happening. It's just like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. See, I think is it because I'm leaning over? Maybe that's why. Oh, thank you. We love you. I love you all too, and I love you. Yeah, you're all just amazing. I love you all. And that's genuine, because otherwise I'd just be doing that to myself, and it just wouldn't be fun. That would not be fun, because I'd be. Also, I mean, look at the hair, the face goes all red. It's all a lot. It's a lot of hands. But yeah, thank you for joining me again. And what was I gonna say there? I was gonna say something else then. Oh, I do lose it. I do lose what I'm gonna say. There was the jingle. It wasn't about the jingle though. I can't remember. I'm not gonna keep you waiting while I try and get my brain to work. But yes, so if you I hope you all have a fabulous weekend. Thank you all so much again for joining me. I know it's a hard one this evening. And if you're watching tomorrow, like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. And thank you. Tiff, yes, Tiff always forgets. Yes. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you all Tuesday for Request Live. Tuesday, we've got to get a name for Tuesdays. But see you all then. Thank you. Look, I'm sweating and everything. It's just not a good look, is it? It's not a good look at all. Bye.